All right, welcome back to Potential Mayhem with Aaron. We've got a lot to unpack today. The initial autopsy results for Nolan Wells remain inconclusive. They were announced this previous week, leaving more questions than answers. So I just kind of want to get into that a little bit, talk about what's going on with that. LeBron James has announced that he'll be playing for the Philadelphia 76ers next year. AZ Fudd put on a show, walked away with the three-point contest champion, becoming the first rookie to win the honors. And we're recapping the legendary West Side verses that had everybody talking from a couple of days ago. All that plus much more coming up. So lock in and let's get right into it. All right, so for Nolan Wells, the first autopsy results from the independent autopsy that was that was hired by the family were announced a couple of days ago in Chicago. The results came back as inconclusive, as parts of Nolan's throat and lungs were missing. The coroner stating that you cannot rule out foul play. Those are some pretty key pieces that are missing that were needed for the puzzle, considering Nolan Wells was initially ruled as a drowning based on the comments that were made by the sheriff. If you're not familiar, Nolan Wells has been top of the headlines the past couple of weeks. Nolan Wells
is the Nolan Xavier Wells.
The Nolan Wells case.
18-year-old Nolan Wells, a star athlete and strong swimmer, vanishes during a boat trip with friends. By the time his body is found 2 days later on the island's northwest tip, the celebration has turned into a death investigation with lots of unanswered questions. Early on, reports indicated that Nolan stayed on the island without his friends voluntarily, but his family has raised some questions about whether or not that's actually true.
My sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, and when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day.
One fact that some say doesn't add up is Nolan's cell phone. Why would he stay on Horn Island and not keep his cell phone? Attorney Ben Crump has been hired by the family to head up their own investigation.
One of them is telling the truth, one of them is not. We have to get to the bottom of that.
At this point, the autopsy results aren't even in, so it's really difficult to figure out what actually happened to Nolan. Was Nolan drinking? Did he get stuck in a rip current? Or did something criminal happen on that fatal trip? Until the investigation is completed, it's hard to come to any conclusion.
The last time we actually spoke with local authorities, which would be the Sheriff's Department, was I think a day or two after his body was found. That was only initiated by me. I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back, there were no updates. He's like, we're still interviewing. And again, my concern, and also my husband's concern, was it was not even an hour that his body had been removed. And the sheriff came out and said, this is, accidental drowning. We don't think there's foul play.
Of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant.
The forensic pathologist wrote there were no fractures, cuts, or bruises on Nolan's body, but noted red discoloration was found on the back of his head and needs more investigation. The autopsy was performed 4 days after his body was found. The pathologist also writing there were missing parts of the neck.
Have you or he asked anyone for access to those things?
Hopefully that the medical examiner will allow him to come and examine the throat, also to talk about observations that they had, and so they could share information.
It is not unusual for a state medical examiner to keep parts for further evaluation.
Well, I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer. I'm going to speak about something about Nolan Wells. Some of y'all may be able to stomach it, some of you won't. It may be a trigger one for some of y'all. Either way it goes, if you can stay, stay. If you can't, go ahead and move on. When a medical examiner does an autopsy, there are certain body parts that are removed and examined for autopsy purposes, for records purposes. Everything should be written down. Everything needs to be documented. Is the throat removed? Yes. in other organs. Yes, they are. But after an autopsy is completed, the visceral organs and all other stuff is placed in a biohazard bag, and it is also accompanied with the body of the deceased. So when Nolan Wells' body got to Washington, D.C., all of his body parts that were examined by the medical examiner or coroner in Mississippi should have gone with him to D.C. Nothing should have been missing. I went and Googled specifically in the state of Mississippi, is it normal practice for certain body parts to be missing after an autopsy, and being sent somewhere else for a disposition or a second autopsy? And the answer that I got back was no, it is not normal for body parts to be missing. Under certain circumstances, certain body parts could be missing, but those circumstances are like if a person passed away from infectious or communicable disease, and we know that that's not the case.
There. Today, the family's attorney noted the doctor was unable to examine the airways and lungs for water to determine drowning.
Tonight, sources telling ABC News, Wells was found wearing only swim trunks face down in the water, consistent with a drowning. The state's autopsy is still pending. The family autopsy found there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries, but described an area of red discoloration on the back of his head.
A second autopsy, there are going to be inherent limitations when you're second to get the body.
Why?
Not the least of which is there's 6 days has elapsed since they found his body, right? They noted that there was tremendous decomposition of this body such that they were unable to really determine if there were surface level bruises. They couldn't include or exclude those types of things.
That's a signal to me that the pathologist is not certain that it's due to trauma. Discoloration can happen from lots of different things, and especially in a decomposed body, discoloration could just be a consequence of decomposition.
The pathologist said he could not observe the airway and lungs for water because the Mississippi medical examiner had already removed organs and part of the neck, pointing out that is common practice.
Could we get a drowning cause of death? Yes. The question, though, is the manner of death. Remember, the cause of death is the how, the why, the medical reason. The cause, or the manner, is the context,
How
right?
did it happen?
Was it homicidal? Was it suicidal? Was it accidental? I think we can rule out definitively some of these more obvious homicidal acts, like gunshot wounds, things of that nature, but still, so many questions.
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and allegedly Ashley Cole, Warren's mom, has her own tip line. Now, what's weird about this is this should be the Nolan Xavier Wells tip line, but as many people are reporting, it is so close with the two numbers that it is going to Ashley Cole's tip line.
Ashley Cole's phone number. Ashley Cole is the judge in the case. Well, yeah, the stepmother of Warren Hudson. Who is Warren Hudson? Nolan Wells is supposed to be best friend, right? Yeah. Y'all believe it? Well, let's test it out, fam. Let's see. This is the number. This is the number that is listed for her. And let's just see what happens. Boom.
Hi, you've reached the office of Judge Ashley Cole. Please leave your name, number, the case number, and a brief message at the sound of the beep, and we'll call you back as soon as we get a chance. Thank you. You cannot record a message for Margot Mills. This mailbox is full. Hello, Cisco Unity Connection Messaging System. From a touch-tone telephone, you may dial an extension at any time. For a directory of extensions, press 4. Otherwise, please hold to leave a general message. Sorry, there is no operator available at this hour. You cannot record a message for operator. This mailbox is full. Hello, Cisco Unity Connection Messaging System.
This would qualify as playing in our faces? Come on, fam, it can't be. Can't be. Let's dig a little further here, fam, because there's got to be a reasonable explanation for this, right? It has to be. I just dialed the number, and this is the same number that is listed. Okay, just to show you proof, this is Judge Ashley Cole, P.O. Box 998, Pascagoula 39568. And the phone number I just dialed was 228-769-3036. That is Judge Ashley Cole's phone number. So how is that the tip line? I mean, something has got to be off. Let me dig a little further here. So what is that, fam? That looks like the same number as the sheriff's department. Is there some type of mix-up? Maybe there's a mix-up. It's got to be a mix-up, fam, because there ain't no way these people are that bold. It's the same number as the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, 228-769-3036. 228-769-3036 is the same number as Ashley Cole's.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Update in the Nolan Wells case, folks. The autopsy report in the Nolan Wells case is going to remain under wraps until a grand jury review. That's the decision of the District Attorney Angel Miles McElrath. She released this video laying that out.
I want to talk directly to the people of Jackson County. Our community is grieving the tremendous loss of Nolan Wells, who is loved and treasured by everyone. Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers. Every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, are presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that. We have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. Nolan's case is being handled the same way, with the same care and the same commitment to the truth that we handle all death investigations. I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation in the grand jury proceeding. As your district attorney, I have an ethical obligation to avoid public statements that could influence witnesses, prejudice a proceeding, or compromise the fairness of the legal process. My obligation extends to and requires me to use reasonable care to ensure investigating agencies avoid making those statements and releasing information as well. These rules exist to protect the search for the truth, not to prevent it. As divided as the discussion surrounding Nolan's death has become, I know we all want the same thing, to understand what happened to Nolan. With that being our shared goal, we must also share in the goal of protecting the integrity of how the truth is discovered. If we sacrifice the integrity of the process in effort to satisfy today's questions, we risk undermining the confidence in tomorrow's answers. When the public asks, what about this, or have they looked at that, or did they think about this? The answer is yes. Those are the same questions investigators ask. The difference is that we can't publicly discuss the evidence, the interviews, or what those efforts have uncovered while the investigation is underway. Again, our restraint in sharing details of the investigation is not a refusal to share the truth. It is our commitment to protect the process that allows the truth to be known with confidence. There's a lot of information out there, and there is a heck of a lot of misinformation out there. I simply want the community I serve to know that this investigation is being handled with the care, professionalism, and commitment to the truth that every family in Jackson County deserves. As we continue this important work, Nolan's family, his friends, and all who loved him remain in our prayers.
So this next week could be a pretty turbulent one, as people are, starting to they're starting to come to their own conclusions and wanting some answers and things of that nature. And it'd be a lot more useful if we could get some more people talking that were immediately involved. But that's the thing about time, man. The longer this drags on, the more it's going to put pressure on people. So I don't want to rush to judgment. I don't want to speculate too much as more of the facts continue to be released and we get to, paint a more accurate picture. Then I will get back into it. They did lay Nolan to rest earlier last week on Monday in Ocean Springs. Nancy Grace's involvement has also gotten the internet abuzz. Social media has been talking about it. And, we'll see what happens here moving forward, what this new evidence may produce, what the next steps may be. We'll see, but we definitely are hoping that we can get some answers so that Nolan's family can, kind of get some kind of closure to the situation. Also, something that has gotten our attention is, as of recently, the last few days, Nolan's mom, who is a nurse practitioner, has received some bad reviews, which, if I'm not mistaken, these were the first bad reviews she's received, which came in the past few days. And, it says a whole lot about the character of those involved in that. But I mean, that's pretty low down. A woman's grieving the loss of her child. She's looking for answers. You know what I mean? She's dealing with pushback from people and her trying to find answers as to why her son went missing when he was supposedly with some friends and nobody wants to give her the information. I think that it's a pretty simple ask for us to not do that. I mean, regardless of how you feel, I can't imagine having to go to work and perform at my best and, I'm laying my child to rest and don't have any answers as to why. So I don't know, what their experiences were, but, grace can go a long way, some compassion as well. And so, I think for those that, if that's your agenda, at least let us know who you are, stand on business, say it with your chest so that, that can be dealt with, properly. But like I said, as more information comes out, we'll discuss a little bit more moving forward, but that is definitely something that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned, since we do cover all things, not just sports. All right. Now, moving forward, WNBA had their biggest weekend thus far for their season with their All-Star game. AZ Flood came out and showed out. She lit it up on, Friday night? Yeah. Winning the three-point contest, becoming the first rookie to take such honors. She did her thing. I know that she was considered somebody to watch out for ahead of the event. she came out, she showed up. So congratulations to AZ on getting that taken care of. Dallas Wings look like they may be somebody to keep, a team to keep an eye on the second half of the season. They look like they're putting it together with that young nucleus, and they're getting some unexpected, I don't know if that's fair to say, contributions from, I think, first-time All-Star Shepard. She's been a double-double machine this season. AZ's finding her footing, after some turmoil early about, or controversy about, where she was coming in the game, minutes that she was playing. Looks like she's starting to put it together. And Paige is doing what they anticipated her to do. You still get some solid contributions from Enrique, so I think they're still figuring it out, but I expect things to tighten up a little bit more the second half as we start gearing into, or they start gearing into postseason. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they, respond and what they have to offer. Now, last night, Team Spoon beat Team Coop 129-122. Jonquilla Jones wins the MVP. She had a great game. I think she scored something like 22. Nneka Ogwumike became the all-time leading scorer in WNBA All-Star Game history. Caitlin Clark did what she was, expected to do, put up some logo threes. Dominique Malanga, she got her dunk. Wasn't quite a poster, but she did get her dunk. And it looked good too. That's probably one of the most clean, fluid dunks that we've seen. She came down the lane. I saw prior to the game they were working on plays. She said they asked her what play she wanted to, try and make it happen on. She said, just give me a simple lob. Instead, they caught her going down the lane on fast, well, not quite a fast break, but the lane was open. She was crashed to the basket, and Angel got her a nice pass. She was able to flush it home. So that definitely made highlights. And then Mabry, she put up, I want to say they said she hit like 5 threes or something like that. So they all contributed, helped to elevate the level of entertainment for the game. I think it was a pretty nice success. They had a nice turnout. So now that that's wrapped, Tuesday they'll get back to action, and we'll see what's what as we start to gear up and get ready for the postseason. Now, the news that everybody had been waiting on, LeBron finally made his announcement as far as where he'll be headed next season, and despite reports that it would be Golden State because it's a close flight from Los Angeles, I personally figured that he would want to wrap it in Cleveland. There was some discussion as far as the lackluster performance that the Cavs had in the Eastern Conference Finals last season. But I think that was a testament to a number of different things, right? It did feel like after they lost that game 1 with the big lead that they never really could regain that traction that they did have early in that game. They couldn't really get themselves back on the right track. And it was interesting to see that downfall. I mean, it was kind of like the same scenario each game. They ended up getting swept in 4 games, and sometimes you look at something like that. That was Donovan Mitchell's first time making it past the second round. I know James Harden has some experience, but we know that his playoff performances have kind of been a roller coaster ride. So a lot of the excitement was, him pairing up with a couple of guys that could shoulder the brunt of the offensive load, would allow him to kind of not be expected to do as much offensively. But it was just one of those things where, like I said in previous episodes, New York Knicks run this past postseason was something special. The way that they just ran through teams, and they had a streak where they just weren't losing games, and I think that was only broken by the Spurs in the finals in Game 3, and then they came back in Game 4 and had a magical performance. So I don't know, my initial thought was LeBron looking at that cast of players, you wouldn't have to do as much because you'd have Donovan Mitchell, who can carry the load offensively. You still have Evan Mobley, who I imagine will do quite a bit of work this offseason to help, grow his game. If they keep Jared Allen, but I know that there was some talks that they may have to move Jared Allen to get LeBron. But I tell you what, it does make sense when you look at what they have assembled with Philly being able to acquire Jaylen Brown in their trade with Boston. I think we all definitely looked at it like, this has some potential. The more that we found out it was gaining traction, it was becoming more of a possibility. It's like, I could see it. I ain't gonna lie, man, I really did think that he'd probably finish it out in Cleveland. That was a strong possibility, at least early. And then it was like, listening to, what I was hearing. Just like everybody else, I think Golden State really was kind of looking like it was making some traction as well. So to find out that he's going to Philly, I guess we are going to be Sixers fans at least for the next couple of years. And then looking at that roster, man, they cooking with grease. They cooking with Earl. Obviously, you look at the starters. You got Maxey, JB, LeBron, Embiid. If they can get him to stay upright for a majority of the season, not even the entire season. With VJ, I think they acquired Anthony Simons to play the six-man role. I know they just signed, or they're getting ready to sign Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Yeah, they making some moves. And I think they have to make one more move, I believe, unless they've already done it, and I just haven't heard about it, in order to, I know LeBron signed earlier today, I saw that news, but to keep them under that first apron, I think they were stating they may have to trade one player or something like that to keep them from going into that second apron. So I believe it's going to be a minor move that they're looking to make, but man, so far they are looking like a real true threat. It's going to be interesting to see how this ball moves around, but you have some high IQ guys, quality guys that know how to play. I have a strong feeling they'll figure it out, and it won't take too long. And I know LeBron's talked about he really had fun in Miami with that group of guys. That 2016 team, we just saw them, have a 10-year anniversary. I believe he said that that was a really fun time for him as well. I would go ahead and add this to the list. This seems like it's going to be real entertaining for them as players. So, we'll see. And then the fact that they got him on 2 years, $8 million. I saw some Lakers fans who were disgusted because, well, why can't he do that for us? Sometimes it's, the way you go about doing things. And I don't want to accuse Lakers front office of doing any bad business or anything like that, but, I think LeBron said, he looked at it. By the time the season ended, they didn't really provide the information that he was looking for. And I know he said in his post that he thought it was done. Initially, when the season was over, he thought he had played his last game. Took the time that he needed. I'm glad that he did, because at the end of the day, this is his decision. So, however it plays out, he'll be able to say, hey, this is what I wanted to do. If it works, great. I'm a genius. If it doesn't work, we tried it, thought it could. And I think he'll be absolutely okay with that, as opposed to him feeling like he's doing it for whatever reason because he thought that this is what people wanted him to do. So I can respect it. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an exciting season coming up. Praying that everybody remains healthy, because definitely now that they can go ahead and get this TV schedule together, I'm sure that we'll see a lot of Philly in that Showtime slot. I missed this when it happened, so I want to double back and make sure that I do highlight it. Shohei hit his 300th home run a couple weeks ago. I think it was right before the MLB All-Star week, because they play theirs during the week. It was less than 2 weeks after Mookie reached the milestone himself. Shohei joins him on that 300 home run list. Dodgers are only the 14th team to have multiple players hit 300 in the same season. Ohtani shockingly reaches that milestone in the 5th fewest games with at least one plate appearance. He's moving in lightning speed. Interesting fact, 19 of those 300 home runs came in games where he was a pitcher or where he pitched. He's the second player to reach number 300 with a leadoff home run, and this is the second time two Dodgers reached this milestone in the same season. And you can only guess who the first were. Freddie and JD Martinez in 2023, so 3 years prior. So congratulations to Shohei Ohtani on reaching the 300 club. I know he's dealing with some issues with his knee, so we're hoping we can get him back right as we're starting to gear up for October. Also, MLB All-Star Week, we had the Home Run Derby, and unexpected winner, Jordan Walker, walked it off, won the Home Run Derby. Was it last week? Yeah, I think it might have been last week. Monday night last week, had to walk down the hometown favorite, Kyle Schwarber, in dramatic fashion. Looked like Schwarber had it locked up there in that final round. I think he had 10 home runs, 11 home runs. Jordan's room for error was a real slim margin, and boy, we were sitting there watching on the edge of our seats like, oh, he really might get this done. And to see his face when he hit that winner, because he knew it as soon as it came off his bat, he was like, ooh, I think it's out of here, and it sure as hell was. That was exciting. I was locked in. I enjoyed it a lot. First time I had watched it in a couple years, so definitely entertaining. And for it to be Jordan Walker, I'm aware of him because of he's helped me win a couple of slips that I put in on one of these platforms. I'm not partnered with them, so it is what it is. But MLB, they definitely put on for the Home Run Derby. We had a couple of, when I say we, referring to the Dodgers, had a couple of players that were named to the All-Star game. National League did not win. They actually lost 4-0. Familiar face, I think, walked away with the All-Star game MVP honors, but he's with the other team, so congratulations to them. Great thing. They've since gotten back to it. Dodgers, I think, are currently 5-3, closing out their road game, travels in New York. I think they start to head back next week, and we'll face Seattle early in the week. All right, been a lot that's been released these last couple of weeks regarding the guy, Kendrick Lamar, K-Dot, and what's going on with PG Lang. So, a couple weeks ago, video popped up on my Explorer and YouTube, and it was titled something along the lines of, this next move that PG Lang makes could possibly really separate Kendrick from Drake in this whole discussion. It's about a 20-minute video, has some interesting information that was included in it. It does appear that PG Lang is positioning for something big. It mentions some trademarks that had been filed recently. I wasn't necessarily in the know, but apparently back in June, OVO was in the discussions to possibly sell 50% of the company to, what's the name of that company? Authentic Brands. So Authentic Brands is basically they manage the licensing for a lot of companies. If you don't know how that works, when you hear certain songs over, commercials and different things like that, that's all licensing, right? So I forget what artist it was. It might have been, what's your boy from Long Beach? I can't remember his name right now. But I'm thinking it's somebody else. So As of the last 10, 15 years, in the music industry, been a lot of discussion about 360 deals, publishing, things of that nature. And somebody was telling the story, I can't remember exactly who it was. They said they were talking to Lyor Cohen about getting them masters to their music. So he said Lyor looked at him crazy, like basically asked him, would you even know what to do with the masters, right? And so essentially what he's referring to, and I'm kind of paraphrasing right now, is, you know, if you had the masters to your music, would you know how to license it? Would you know who to talk to, how to get it, you know, here, there, so that you could actually make compensation or, you know, generate some revenue off of having the masters? Because if not, then you just have the ownership to this music and it's just sitting here collecting dust, not doing anything, as opposed to somebody who knows what to do with it and how to monetize it and being able to generate revenue for you, right? That's essentially what Authentic Brands does. I think Shaq is like one of the major owners of the company now. I think he sold like a big portion of I don't know, I can't remember exactly what company or like, but he sold a big portion, I think, of his brand, and in return he got like 50% of the company or something like that, or a large percentage of it. I can't remember, it was a little while ago when I was looking at this, but you know, there are some big key players that are involved in Authentic Brands, so I don't want to minimize, you know, what they do or the importance of that. But the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a difference in what's going on and what it looks like PG Lang is actually positioning itself to do. So the recent trademark filings show that PG Lang could be looking to position itself as a media conglomerate, basically, in layman's terms. Looks like there's some documents that were reportedly filed in the trademark office that's looking to expand the company and become a vertical media titan. All right, so it gave these examples, 6 floors. So floor 1, you have the label, which is released albums from Baby Keem with Casino, as well as newer artists and Amani with Paper Cut. Then you also have floor 2, which is management. Looks like that's the center, or basically that's where Kendrick Lamar is kind of like operating from, the management area in that floor 2. Floor 3 would be the creative. So you have the PG Lang collaborations with the NBPA for the Own the Game that was announced recently, I think either earlier this month or last month. And then you have the 4th floor, which is touring and a live division, right? So GNX went out on a world tour, grossed $369 million, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the highest grossing hip hop rap tour, whatever you want to call it. But he took the crown with that one. So that's what that floor is. Then you have the 5th floor, which is the vault, right? Now you guys know what the vault is, right? That's where all the gems that haven't been released to the public, that's where they live. You keep those under wraps, no leaks, anything like that. So the 6th floor is where the additional or the new trademarks have been filed for, which is in the streaming platform category, right? Doesn't take Stevie Wonder to see what's going on here. So obviously you get the streaming rights where you can release your music on your streaming platform. You can control the revenue that's generated from it, right? The documents were filed in the same window as royalty negotiations with UMG, right? This is all allegedly. Now, this is different than defensive trademark filings where you would be looking to protect yourself from allowing somebody else to profit off of your creative, what do they call that term? your creative IP, right? So this is also coinciding with the OVO discussions of them selling 50% of their company, right? He's not looking to cash in or cash out. In that case, he's actually looking to build, and he's essentially taking the money that he made off of UMG and putting it into creating his own empire. And I gotta tell you, this is like in the early discussions that I was having with some people when the whole Like That record first dropped, and then we got the response from Drake. This was kind of my stance, was Drake doesn't realize, you know, he had gotten that money from UMG. I think it was somewhere around like 400 million. I don't really want to get into that whole discussion, but these are more along the lines of how I was thinking that Drake should have went about about doing the thing, but he seems more interested in just getting the bag as opposed to really creating something else, right? So we will see what's going on, what happens. Like I said, this is all allegedly. None of this has been, confirmed by PG Lang, anybody in PG Lang, Kendrick Lamar, Dave, Free, anybody like that. But some interesting news nonetheless. So I'll be looking forward to see what happens. Also, something that came up beyond that is it looks like Kendrick released, what was it, a snippet? I heard like a verse for a song that's coming out. What is it? Something like "Teach Me How to Pray" or something like that. "Pray with me," something like that. But he's definitely looking like he's back cooking. And apparently, there's some rumors going around that there's something that's being deemed as track 4 that could be career ending. Again, this is all allegedly, but supposedly there was a meeting of the minds where they had some people that were in a room, no phones were allowed. They're listening to some music, specifically the song that people are referring to as track 4. Again, I don't know if there's any truth to it just yet, but they seem to be pretty mum about it, and they're saying that the responses that have been given regarding this could be career ending. And nobody's given any information about nothing. So I don't know if there's any truth to it, but all of this is very interesting. And like I said, since the release of the snippet does indicate that there is some more music that's on the way, it looks like Kendrick, PG Lang in general, is looking to kind of separate themselves from being attached to, this beef with Drake, and kind of just show the distance in between the two. So I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we get some heat out of this. Now, back to sports real quick, because I saw this and I thought this was interesting. Nets owner Joe Tsai is fighting the Department of Defense, as looks like Rep. John Molina recently stated that the NBA and its owner should explore whether they want Brooklyn Nets owner Joe Tsai to remain part of the league, given that a business he co-founded, which is Alibaba, was designated recently by the U.S. government as a Chinese military company. Head of a congressional committee told ESPN recently. Now, this is news from like last week, but I did think it's interesting because it just seems like they are just like on a full-out attack. Not sure if you heard the recent comments by President Trump, where he tried to criticize LeBron and state that he doesn't know if he is racist or just doesn't like Trump, which I'm pretty sure it's more of the latter, like many of us. But it just seems like it's never ending with these folks and their attempt to try and just kind of sabotage everything that we got going on, or that is going on. Alibaba Group Holding Limited, and Alibaba is indirectly affiliated with CSAC Section 1260 Alibaba is a military civil fusion contributor to the Chinese defense industrial base because it is affiliated with MIIT. These are the claims from the Department of Defense. Joe Tsai is chairman of Alibaba, which has disputed the characterization and has filed a lawsuit against the Department of Defense to get removed from the U.S. blacklist. Seems like it's right there in the vein of pettiness. This has all recently come to be, I guess, an issue in the last, I don't know how long they've been working on this, but I know I saw these headlines and I was just like shaking my head. Because it really just doesn't really seem like any kind of valid. We all know what Alibaba, what type of company it is, and it seems like much of nothing, and this is coming from the same group of people who just have really been a disappointment when it comes to the lack of things they've been able to accomplish since taking office. So I know we have the campaign 100 Days Out to Vote that really has been kicking off today on social media. So back at this thing again, coming up real soon. I do want to leave out with Alibaba is not a Chinese military company nor part of any military civil fusion strategy. In a statement that was provided, it says that Molinar said that Tsai, who was born in Taiwan and is a Canadian citizen, has, to his knowledge, zero allegiance to America beyond his financial agreements here. Molinar, chairman of the Bipartisan Advisory Committee, added, "This is really a moment for the NBA and its owners to decide if they want an owner in their ranks who's actively working against American interests and helping the Chinese military." End quote. All right, so pivoting away from that nonsense. Looks like Wardell is going to be in Springfield already. Looks like he's going to be a living legend, literally. Wardell Curry, if you don't know who I'm talking about, y'all refer to him as Steph. I've kind of moved away from that name and start calling him Wardell. But he has, I think, that exhibit open already, or it will open soon. But he becomes the first active player with a Hall of Fame exhibit. So Springfield is opening, or has opened, it opened on Friday. The Stephen Curry Beyond the Arc exhibit, which opened on Friday. This includes Olympic and championship artifacts, game-worn gear, and archival footage of Curry's journey from an unheralded prospect to a decorated four-time NBA champion. He'll be the first, again, active player with such honors. Stephen has not only redefined how the game of basketball is played, but he has also set a blueprint for what it means to be an exemplary role model. Hall of Fame president and CEO John Dell said, or is that Delvey? I'm not sure. This is a truly historic moment for us and for basketball fans worldwide. So, your boy didn't get LeBron, but he does get a Hall of Fame exhibit already, which I think is pretty effing cool if you ask me. Like, not even finished your career yet, and already getting the exhibit in Springfield. You may have to pinch yourself a couple times, like, man, really did that. So congrats to Wardell on getting in the Hall of Fame already, a legendary career. It's incredible. Now, let's get down to business. Thursday.
Hey, this motherfucker about to get super bragging.
He told me never leave the house lost without my tool. Grandma told me never trust a sucker nigga from the street. Said she let me, she not a friend for me. But I just want.
Happened to be my birthday. And on Thursday, Versus held a legendary matchup between The Game and YG. And when I saw the announcement for it last week, I think it wasn't a whole lot of time. We had to react quick. I knew immediately. I was like, look, man, I got to, on my birthday? Yeah, we got to do something. And so we did something. And me and my homegirl, we pulled up to the Versus. And so just a funny backstory, right? She used to twist my hair, and I think one day we really got the vibe, and we were talking about soul food out here, and so gave her, I was like, yeah, I like to go to, y'all know what spot I'm thinking of. She was like, nah, I gotta take you somewhere else. So she took me to, we went to another soul food spot, I think out in, what's that? Gardena? Could be wrong. Might have to edit this out. But on the trip, we listening to YG. And I remember not too long after that, he had a couple of shows at Kia Forum, right? And so she was telling me that she knew one of the guys that does security for YG she used to go to school with. And so, I'm like, yeah, everybody knows somebody. So I told her, I said, all right, well, what's up with these tickets? So long story short, she's like, he told me he gave them to somebody else. Just to show you how small the world is, I get back to work like the next day after the show. And one of the vendors, you just have one of them little relationships with them. She was showing me video of her at the YG show. So I was like, oh, you went? Yeah, such and such, somebody gave me tickets. So I'm looking, I'm like, I guess everybody knows somebody, close to YG around here. And so we were having a discussion, come to find out, that was the girl that, she got the tickets from the same dude. So I've been giving her a hard time about it ever since. Like, yeah, that ain't your homeboy. If that was your homeboy, he would have gave you the tickets instead of her, right? So she already hot because she feels a way about it. So, longer story short, once I got my tickets, I'm like, come on, you wanna go? She's like, yeah. So we pull up together. Now, mind you, we get there, it honestly looks like the Scrappy video, where it's hella Dickies, hella red rags, hella white tees, red chucks, right? And it's one of the things where you just kind of like, I think initially when people seen who it was that was going against each other, it's like, all right, well, as far as I know, these two, they mess with each other. So it really shouldn't be no issues, right? But still, you can't always account for, everybody that's there. But once we got there, it's just kind of like, man, you understood, hey, there's money involved. They not trying to, have any real issues. Like, everybody's real cordial. I mean, it's one place where it's like you seeing everybody outside. It's a number of people that I saw that I recognize, whether it be from social media or just from being out, you know what I mean? It was a lot of names. Like, I turned around, DJ Head standing behind me, Storm the Barge, when she got on stage, she's standing like right in front of me. I think I heard Reason when he was pulling up, because he trying to get in the venue. So it's a lot of people that's out there. 19 Keys, he pulled up, you know what I mean? So it's you kind of get the vibe, like it's the energy is there, but it's like I think everybody gonna be under control. And we get in there, and man, you can feel as soon as them two hit the stage, boy. Game had his his people in some, look like some revived Black Wall Street white tees, because I hadn't seen Black Wall Street since probably like 05, 06. And I think it felt like YG, I know they both came on stage, just the two of them, and then when Game did One Blood, he brought everybody on stage, and then I don't remember when all the YG's folks got on there. But man, let me tell you something. I was looking at the Joe Budden podcast, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch the broadcast, because I've had some. It's been like conflicting, like some of the stuff that I've been seeing, some of the feedback online that I've been seeing is just kind of like, what? But now after listening to the Joe Budden podcast, I'm like, oh, okay, they can't really feel what was actually happening, because the energy in there, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I told my homegirl, I said that's in the top 5, if not the best verses, is definitely one of them. Because it was like the energy that they was getting for some of these records that they was doing, and it's like we in there rapping every single verse, lyric, and it was cool. Like, Game is a little bit out of my homegirl's age range, right? And so you kept hearing that this was like battle of decades, or musical time periods, right? Because it was Game that came, and then you had YG that followed up, right? And even with YG, you still had there's Nipsey, you had Problem at the time, you had YG, K-Dot's really kind of like getting introduced, right? So it's kind of like another rebirth of the West Coast. But like when you look at when Game first got there, it's like this is a real stagnant period on a national level for the West Coast. So he really put on for the West Coast and carried it for a very long time. You know what I mean? And hell, even when you look back at the footage, Game was there when Dr. Dre and Snoop gave K-Dot the keys to the West and told him, hey, you got it, it's on you. And it would have been cool if he performed some of the songs that they have, but I know those may not be as well known as some of the other songs that he did, and some of the songs that he didn't do that he left out. And I knew that he wanted to show some solidarity with the boy. And that's just, in my opinion, that's just Game just being Game. I know there was a lot of talk about him taking down that Don Julio bottle. But if you watch Drink Champs, if you watch some of his other shows, this ain't the first time that he's done it. You know what I'm saying? And interesting. God damn. You really telling me I talk fucking, I'm just rambling? I ain't got that much fucking. She would have been embarrassed, and I'm thinking to myself, and I tried to explain it to her. I was like, man, he just caught up in the moment. When's the last time you really seen Game on this type of platform where he had this much attention? It's been a while, right? And she doesn't really have the same affliction, I guess you could say, when it comes to Game, because there's a lot of songs that like he's playing, and I'm like, you know what this is? And she's like, nah. And she had told me before, when she asked me, she's like, who you got? And I know a lot of the talk agreed with her, a lot of the discussion, which was YG is gonna wash Game. And I know why people felt that way is because YG had a nice run where it's like, to get the party going, you could cut on his music. Trust me. I remember when he first got on the scene, Tooted and Booted was dominating the radio. And it was one of those, you know, fun songs where it's like, you know what he was talking about, but it wasn't like he was just being overly, you know, just like outrageous with what he's talking about. It was like, yeah, you know, it's a little bop. Yeah, you know, I rocks with it. And there's some other stuff that's associated with it that I don't really want to get into right now. But, you know, I could understand with the energy that was in the building, Game just, in my opinion, watching this dude for as long as I watched him, he was being himself. And I wouldn't want him to be any other way, regardless of what the situation was. I felt like he was being himself. And to be honest, if y'all felt like that was embarrassing, that means y'all think I'd be embarrassing too, because around the right folks, he is I and I am him. Hitting the dance moves, the whole nine. So it is what it is. But I did notice that what they said was that I guess they're muting the audience, the crowd noise, in the live feed. And like I said, I'm gonna go back and watch it because that I didn't realize, but it's just like, oh, y'all didn't realize what was really going on like inside of there. And I definitely think that both of them felt the energy that was coming from us, you know what I mean? And that played a big role in it. But, you know, I started seeing, you know, a lot of the feedback from people in LA, people that were there, you know, and I think a lot of us held the same sentiments about it. Like, that was a brilliant matchup, regardless of, you know, how people feel that Game should have approached it, you know, about him, you know, doing this, that, and the third. But I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? Do y'all remember when the Bay had their verses? When E40 was up there and y'all said a lot of the same things about E40? When he was up there and he was twisted and he was dancing and he was doing all kind of stuff, and it gave us something to talk about after the verses, right? Something to remember. So a lot of the criticism, I mean, you know, it is what it is. It comes with the territory. You know, not everybody's going to be 100% pleased or happy with you with everything, but in all, in summation, you know, all things considered, that was a nice little birthday present to myself. I enjoyed it again. And I have to go back and watch the live stream to see what you guys saw and, you know, kind of compare the two experiences, but it was definitely worth it. And I definitely say 10 out of 10, I'd do it again. So, all right, so that's going to do it for this episode of Potential Mayhem with Aaron. Questions surrounding Nolan Wells remain unanswered, unfortunately. LeBron is headed to Philadelphia. AZ Fudd is the WNBA three-point champion for 2026. Westside Versus gave us a night people will be discussing for a while. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the show. Till next time, today's a great day to be great. I'm Aaron, and this has been Potential Mayhem with Aaron. Oh, and one more thing. I'm gonna go ahead on my drink as well. So, for y'all talking about can't drink on the job, this job you can.